Okay.
All right, the floor is yours, Madam Chair.
Great. Morning. Welcome to the Public Improvement Commission hearing of July 13th, 2023. How will you take attendance?
Oh my God. I'm sorry?
Sure. Would the representative from the Boston Transportation Department please state his or her name for the record?
Amy Cording.
Property Management Department.
Callahan.
Water and Sewer Commission.
Denise Devlin.
Disabilities Commission.
Sarah Leon.
I don't believe we have anybody from Inspectional Services, but if so, please speak up now. Nope, okay, and nobody from Public Works is available today, but we do have a quorum.
Great. At the request of the Public Improvement Commission staff, I will entertain a motion for the acceptance of the minutes of the PIC hearing held on June 29th, 2023.
I make a motion to accept the minutes of the PIC hearing on June 29th, 2023.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. All right. Utility pole hearing continued on a petition by Eversource Energy for utility pole installation within Soldiers Field Place Public Way, Brighton, to relocate one private utility pole to be relocated on its southerly side, generally across from address number 44, southeast of Soldiers Field Road. Utility pole 6/15/2023. Public hearing continued 6/29/2023.
Hi, good morning. It's Katie Flaherty. I'm on here from Eversource. Trying to share the screen with you for the new plan. Bear with me for 1 second. I don't know this one. So if it's held to share, I don't know, because this is what it did last time. What should I do? We revised the plan for this job. We're trying to share the new revised plan right now, and we're having an issue here. Okay, here it is. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, so the existing pole is here. We want to relocate it across the street. This is a new plan that we have moved the pole because there was a concern that it was in the tree canopy. So we have moved it 3 feet easterly now. And that's the new plan. I do have some photos if you want to see what it looks like. That would be the new location there, away from the tree.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments from commission members?
Oh, good morning, Catherine. This is Denise Devlin from Water and Sewer. We just had a comment. It's not the whole job from the plan. It's just a comment that came up this morning about the fire department. Does the fire department have a requirement for distances between the poles and the hydrants?
Hi, this is Kelly. I'm going to step in if you don't mind. But
Oh yeah, no problem.
I don't know if the fire department actually has a requirement for the poles, but what I can tell you is the water pipes that come off that hydrant come directly straight out into the street. So if you can see the screen, the pipes come off the hydrant out here. They don't travel down the sidewalk. So the poles.
Oh yeah, no, that was. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. That wasn't the concern. It was just the hydrant itself. We were okay with it. That was just a comment that came up. That's all. Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions or comments?
So the other thing too, Amy, one of the questions you guys had asked before was the clearance between the pole and the sidewalk anchor. So there definitely is 5 feet clearance there. I did measure it myself when I was out with the engineer.
Great. Other comments or questions? Okay, I think that we can approve this, but I think that you should double check with the fire department, make sure that you're holding any minimum dimensions that they have for hydrants.
Okay. We'll do that. I'll just send you a confirmation email letting you know we did.
Perfect. I will entertain a motion on utility pole hearing continued number 1.
I make a motion to approve a petition by Eversource Energy for utility pole installation within Soldiers Field Place, as further read into the record by the chair, and also contingent on no objection from the Boston Fire Department.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, motion passes.
Thank you.
Public hearing, item number 1, on a joint petition by the City of Boston Public Facilities Department and the Boston Public Schools for the making of specific repairs within the following public ways in Boston proper, consisting of curb realignment, sidewalk reconstruction, as well as new and relocated pedestrian ramp, street lighting infrastructure, storm drain infrastructure, planters, landscaping, and irrigation infrastructure. Harrison Ave at address number 249, generally between Marginal Road and Pine Street northwest of Harrison Ave. New business 6/29/2023 is shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department Engineering Division, specific repairs plan, Pine Street and Harrison Ave, 900 Washington Street, 249 Harrison Ave, Boston proper, 2 sheets dated July 13th, 2023. Take it away.
Okay. Hello and good morning. I'm going to share my screen. All right, can everyone see this? I hope so. My name is Nicholas Potts. I'm with Niche Engineering, representing this project, the Josiah Quincy Upper School project, which was previously approved in 2021. We are coming back to PIC because we had an issue during construction for unforeseen utility conflicts, which I will get to in a moment. But first, I'd like to reintroduce the project team. One moment. As you can see here, this was a joint effort between the Boston Public Facilities Department, Massachusetts School Building Authority, HMFH Architects, Niche Engineering, IBI, and the OPM with Stanska Susan Gleason. This project was under development, and as you can see here, they are currently utilizing the swing space available further west of the existing Josiah Quincy Upper School. While this school is currently in construction, they're looking to continue the construction, and hopefully we can get PIC approval to continue with that effort. This is the original site layout, which was approved by PIC in 2001. The issue we are coming to you today with is at the corner of Harrison Avenue and Pine Street. The original design for this included a raised crosswalk for pedestrian access along the northeast side of the site. During construction, there were unforeseen utility conflicts, which did not allow us to install the new drainage improvements, which would allow us to install that raised crosswalk in that intersection. Due to that, we had to redesign that intersection to allow for access for the pedestrians and still also allow the existing level of vehicular service in that area to still make and facilitate the turns from Pine Street southbound onto Harrison Avenue. This was the original design, as you can see, which showed that raised crosswalk. And this is the new design here on the right. It does have a further bump out of the curb line on the south side of Pine Street. That's to help facilitate the MAB approved variance ramp that we installed to allow access to the pedestrians across Pine Street in this area. And here is just kind of the further detailing of the PIC plans for the specific repairs we submitted for this project. That's pretty much the short end of it. I'm happy to answer any questions if there are anything else that we can address, or if there's anything else that comes to mind.
Questions or comments by commission members? PIC staff or public?
I will just mention that Brian Ronan of ISD just joined us, so he is in the hearing. I do not have any questions or comments for the project, though.
All right, I will entertain a motion on public hearing item number 1.
I make a motion to approve a joint petition by the City of Boston Public Facilities Department and Boston Public Schools for specific repairs in the area of Harrison Ave and Pine Street, as further read into the record by the chair.
Okay.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Motion passes. Public hearing item number 2 on a petition by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Department of Conservation and Recreation for the making of specific repairs within Walter Street, Public Way, West Roxbury, located east of Center Street, consisting of curb realignment, roadway and sidewalk reconstruction, as well as new and relocated pedestrian ramps, specialty pavement, street lighting infrastructure, storm drain infrastructure, landscaping, street furniture, driveway curb cuts, wayfinding signage, and productive bike facilities. New business 6/29/2023, as shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department Engineering Division Specific Repairs Plan, Walter Street, Rosendale, 4 sheets dated July 7th, 2023.
Thank you and good morning, Madam Chair and Commission members. My name is Bob Stapopoulos. I'm with Harrison Hudson. I'm the project manager for this project. And with me today I have Val Soroka from the DCR. I am going to share my screen and show the specific repair plans on Walter Street. When we showed up a couple of weeks ago, I think the only big items was to coordinate further with Lana, the Longfellow Area Association Group, which we have done some coordination up to now. Some additional comments have popped up. I'm not sure if the commission has seen it. They were sent yesterday.
Yes, we are in receipt of the Lana comments, and I will also note that most of them are of the signage markings and pavement markings. There's one material change request in there, but I believe that as far as what we're approving right here does not preclude us from discussing all of those comments and potentially incorporating those changes because it's it's stuff that can happen with signage and markings. It's not substantially anything.
That is correct. I just wanted to make note of those comments. So we will definitely keep working with Lana and make sure those changes that can apply over here will apply before we finalize these plans. But we didn't have any other hanging comments, so we're coming forward to PIC pass for approval at this point.
Okay, can you quickly walk through those specific repairs?
Yes, so within Walter Street and what is shown over here on the plans, we are doing upgrades to the sidewalks, to the sidewalk on the Arboretum Park side, installing new sidewalk on the Hebrew Center side, and bike lanes, separated bike lanes on both sides. They are not there today. When it comes to the roadway repairs, we're just refreshing the pavement, as well as providing new pavement markings up until right before the stop line of the intersection with Bassett Street. And the two driveways within the curb work limits are being renewed and being constructed in cement concrete, as noted on the plans. Not missing anything on this side. Oh, and when we come into the intersection up to Center Street, you can see the bump outs, the curb bump outs here. We are shrinking down the intersection, especially on the Walter Street leg, to continue up the sidewalk and bike lanes, as you can see here, and wrapping out on the corner onto Center Street. And the areas behind the end of the sidewalk are going to be landscaped areas. Right now, they'll be lawn and seed, but the Arboretum is taking ownership of this, and they will be providing some landscape in this area.
All right, questions or comments by commission members? PIC staff or public, and I will note if you have a comment, use the raise hand feature. I see somebody's already got that. PIC staff.
Yeah, go ahead, Michelle. I can weigh in afterwards.
Hi, thank you guys. I was at your last meeting and it's a pleasure to be able to come back. One of the questions that I had brought up, because I represent the Consortium of Community Services at 1195 Center Street, which is up to the right here. That's the, as you can see on this picture here, yeah, right up there. So I'm representing Little Amigos Early Learning Center, the daycare and preschool that is there. One of the questions we had last week was if it was going to be followed up with the fire department, if fire trucks could have access to the property. Because right now, the way that it looks, they would have to make that U-turn down by Allendale Street, which was something that DCR was supposed to be looking into for us, and we hadn't gotten confirmation. So that's my first question, and then, or is this conversation really just about what's happening in Walter Street and not what's happening at Center Street? Is, I guess, the second part.
So yeah, it's a little bit tricky, right? Because this is a DCR project and only a small portion of it is impacting, right, City of Boston streets, and that's what they're coming here for. But recognizing that this is, right, like maybe a public hearing where this is opportunity to comment, right? Like, I don't think anything's misplaced here, but what we are proving here does not impact, right, I think some of the concerns that you have. But
Yes. If I can add, Amy, and sorry to interrupt you there, Val Soroka can correct me if I'm wrong, but the coordination is still ongoing with the fire department. I don't think we've heard back from them. Val, is that correct? You are on. You notice you're on.
If we don't have an answer from the fire department, we can take this vote contingent upon approval by BFD. So that they would only be able to pull permits and move forward with us when they came back to us with an affirmative from the fire department.
Understood.
Awesome. And that's great. And we completely support reorganizing this entire thing because it's an awesome opportunity to get people across the street and back and forth and where they need to go in order to access the Arboretum and everything that the DCR is looking to do. It's just we're making sure that we have the appropriate egress for the 40-something families that go in and out 4 times a day because they go in and they go out, they go in and they go out. So just as long as the fire department can do that and the stop line can do that, like we have nothing, we have no issues with any of that except for the egress in the fire department. So cool, great.
Great. Julia? Oh, I think you're still muted.
Sorry.
We hear you now.
Okay. I'm Julia O'Brien representing Lana, and you have our comments. We agree that these are things that can be tweaked as subsequent to an approval on Walter Street. We do anticipate considerable further discussion with DCR about some of the Center Street issues that have been raised. But for Walter Street, we're in good shape.
Okay. Thank you.
Great, yeah, and like I said, none of the specifics that we approve here are really the subject of the comments, but that's all stuff that I feel like can be part of an ongoing conversation and tweaked, right? Like the signal
Yes.
timings, the signage, the markings are all, we have a little bit of time with those.
Yeah. Understood.
Great. Any other comments or questions? All right, I will entertain a motion on public hearing item number 2, contingent upon approval by the fire department.
I make a motion to approve a petition by the Massachusetts Department of Conservation and Recreation for specific repairs within Walter Street as further read into the record by the chair and contingent upon approval from the Boston Fire Department.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. All right, public hearing item number 3 on a petition by Appleton Berkeley Properties LLC for the making of specific repairs within the following public ways in Boston proper, consisting of curb realignment, roadway and sidewalk reconstruction with structural soil, as well as new and relocated pedestrian ramps, specialty pavement, street lighting infrastructure, storm drain infrastructure, street trees, planters, landscaping, bike racks, driveway curb cuts, median islands, and protected bike facilities. Berkeley Street at address 41, generally between Tremont Street and Appleton Street, Tremont Street, generally between Berkeley Street and Appleton Street, Appleton Street, generally between Berkeley Street and Tremont Street. New business 6/29/2023 is shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department Engineering Division Specific Repairs Plan, Tremont Street, Appleton Street, Berkeley Street, 41 Berkeley Street, South End, 6 sheets, dated June 20, 2023.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for your time. My name is Lindsay Knutson from Related Beal. We are the developer and proponent for this project. I'm joined by a couple members of the project team, including John Schmidt from Niche Engineering, who's presenting. I'm just going to give a brief project intro, and then I'll pass it off to John. This project is 41 Berkeley Street in the South End. It's a triangular block bounded by Tremont, Appleton, and East Berkeley Streets, and is probably better known as the current campus of Franklin Cummings Tech. This project has received a number of public approvals thus far, including BPDA board approval in December of 2022, zoning commission approval of the PDA in January of this year, and then South End Landmarks District Commission in March of this year. The proposed project consists of 3 components. It's anchored by an approximately 200,000 square foot senior care facility consisting of 193 units of assisted living and memory care. There's also ground floor retail and a below grade garage for approximately 60 parking spaces. There's the Appleton building, which is at the corner of Tremont and Appleton Street, which is about 20,000 square feet and will consist of 16 units of income and age-restricted housing, as well as a ground floor community center. And then the existing Franklin Cummings Tech school building will be adapted into home ownership units. 1 additional story will be added to the top, resulting in about 55,000 square feet with 35 units and some ground floor retail. I will now pass it to John from Niche to talk through the plans.
Good morning, John Schmidt with Niche Engineering. So the specific repairs include improvements to Tremont Street, Berkeley Street, and Appleton Street, the streets that bound the parcel. This will give you a quick overview of the materials proposed. Along Tremont Street, we are maintaining or reconstructing the concrete sidewalk, where we'll have pervious pavers in the frontage zone. On Appleton and on Berkeley, we have wire cut brick pavers along the building face, and then we'll have pervious pavers outside of that within the frontage zone. Then move along. On Tremont Street, we have an 8-foot wide concrete sidewalk, 4-foot pervious pavers, relocating the street lights. We are protecting and maintaining 12 trees, and we're proposing 1 new tree. And the trees will have raised planting beds with railings, as well as we've been coordinating with the city's capital improvement project, which is currently under construction within Tremont Street. We're actually on site Monday to review the current conditions, so we accurately reflect them on our drawings. This project's also been reviewed and blessed by Kate England. As we move along to Berkeley Street, here we have 9-foot wide wire cut brick pavers, a 4-foot wide pervious paver. Again, we have the raised planting beds with rails. We are maintaining 5 of the existing street trees. We are removing 3, and we're proposing 4 new trees. We did get approval to remove these trees from the Parks Department at a tree removal hearing in May of 23. We also provided 5 new street lights. At the driveway entrance, we are presently proposing stone pavers instead of the wire cut brick pavers, and I'll get into that a little bit more as we go ahead. As we get to Appleton Street, we have a 10-foot wide wire cut brick paver, a 4-foot wide pervious paver zone. We also have a second driveway. We're providing proposing granite pavers. We have 5 new street lights, 7 new street trees. We are maintaining 1 tree, and we are removing 3. Speaking to the granite pavers at the driveway entrances, these are ADA accessible pavers, but we understand that they're outside the city's standard for sidewalk materials. So we asked, and I understand that Commissioner McCosh has to review and approve this before we can submit the Mylars. and she is not available this week to do that. So I asked for conditional approval, and should the commissioner determine that the stone pavers are not acceptable, we will update our plan to indicate wire cut brick pavers and submit them with the Mylar drawings. Does anyone have any questions?
Questions or comments by commission members?
Would the team be opposed to indicating wire cut brick at this time before having a discussion with Commissioner McCosh and coming back with a revised material detail if Commissioner McCosh is amenable to the alternate material?
When you say coming back, do you mean coming back to the public hearing process, or just coming back and meeting with you and reviewing the materials?
So we can make this contingent upon, Commissioner McCosh's approval and make that change before we approve Mylar.
That would be my hope.
Does that work for you, Sarah?
We would prefer if the wire cut brick was indicated on this plan for condition, and then switching the material if Commissioner McCosh was amenable to the specialty material. I think we
can show whatever you want for the discussion until, right, like they're happy, but what will land on the Mylar will be what she ultimately approves.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments?
Oh, yes. Hi, John. Thank you for responding to my email last night. Actually, we just have one additional comment. If we could review the construction documents as well, just so we can, we are relocating the catch basins. We just want to take a quick look at the plans. It's not that, we're okay with you approving this today.
Thank you, Denise. Yeah, and the construction documents are months away, and as the design progresses, we will be submitting site plans to Boston Water and Sewer for approval. And within those plans, we'll be addressing your concerns.
Okay, great. Thanks, John.
IC staff or public?
Chief Franklin Hodge caught up with me yesterday about this, and he was just hoping to have the project confirm that the interim construction activities will not negatively or significantly negatively impact any of the existing or proposed bike lanes on any of these streets. Primarily at Tremont, I believe, Berkeley rather, I believe.
So if I may, a TAPA was submitted to the city, which is currently under review. As far as the construction management plan, that again is probably months away, and that management plan will incorporate the bike lanes to ensure that the city's concerns are addressed.
John, just to clarify, this is Ian McKinnon, just saying, the CMP has been submitted.
Oh, okay, thank you.
And it does accommodate.
It allows for the bike lanes to remain in some form during construction?
That is my understanding, yes.
Thanks.
Any other comments or questions? All right, I will entertain a motion on public hearing item number 3. We will, if I understand this correctly, default to wire cut brick until a conversation with Commissioner McCosh, and the material that she approves will be what we have on the final Mylars. Does that work for you, Sarah? All right, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve a petition by Appleton Berkeley Property LLC for specific repairs in the area of Berkeley, Tremont, and Appleton streets, subject to additional consideration on the paving materials.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None, motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Public hearing item number 4 on a petition by Last Mile Solutions LLC for the rental of City Shadow to install new telecommunications fiber and existing conduit within Summer Street, Public Way, Boston proper, located generally between Holly Street, Lincoln Street, Bedford Street. New business 6/29/2023 is shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department Engineering Division Grant of Location Plan 1 Summer Street, Boston, 1 sheet dated June 2023.
Engineering. Yes, Last Mile Solutions is proposing to lease a total of 3,432 feet of city shadow conduit, 1,704 feet of it between the CNS manhole at Polly Street to the CNS manhole at Kingston Street, and then 1,728 feet of conduits from the CNS manhole at Kingston Street to the level 3 manhole at Lincoln Street.
Okay, questions or comments by commission members? PIC staff or public?
No, Bill, I appreciate you following up with BTD and street lighting to confirm that they didn't have any use for these city shadow conduits and getting those okays. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug.
All right, I will entertain a motion on public hearing item number 4.
I make a motion to approve a petition by Last Mile Solutions LLC for the rental of city shadow within existing conduit on Summer Street as further read into the record by the chair.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion passes. New business. First item of new business, Shawmut Ave, Washington Street, Hammond Street, Kendall Street, Lenox Street, East Lenox Street, Boston Proper, Roxbury, specific repairs on a joint petition by the City of Boston Transportation Department and the City of Boston Public Works Department.
Hello, Commissioners. My name is John Monticelli, representing the Boston Transportation Department here. This is a project that was originated with us and partnered with Public Works to improve a handful of locations in the Lower Roxbury neighborhood, variety of raised crosswalks, curb extensions, green infrastructure, sidewalk reconstruction, street light relocation or addition, as well as a variety of ramp reconstructions and accessibility improvements. I have our consultant here, Kittleson, and I believe Radu Nan will be walking through the plans for you.
Hi, good morning, members of the commission. My name is Radu Nan with Kittleson Associates, and before you are the plans for the specific repairs along Shawmut Avenue, more precisely at Ball Street, Hammond Street intersection, and Kendall Street. The specific repairs proposed by this project include realignment of the existing edge lines, reconstruction of existing sidewalks, realignment and reconstruction of existing pedestrian ramps, and the construction of a raised crosswalk across Shawmut Avenue, generally between Ball Street and Hammond Street. And along Hammond Street, we're also retaining and protecting one street tree, relocating street lights, and proposing pervious surfaces for plantings along the curb extensions depicted on this plan. At Kendall Street, 2 pedestrian ramps are being reconstructed, sidewalk is being reconstructed, as well as new drainage improvements proposed to maintain adequate street drainage at that intersection. Following location, we propose changes, and mentioned the intersection area is going to be also repaved around Ball and Hammond along Shawmut. In front of you now are the proposed changes. Shawmut Avenue, which include a raised crosswalk at approximately Shawmut and 616, between 617 and 609. This raised crosswalk aligns with an internal pedestrian walkway within the residential area just north of this location, therefore this proposed location. The sidewalk is being reconstructed, and we're also adding a driveway access into Ramsey Park on the south side of Shawmut, which is a maintenance access for Parks Department. At the intersection of Lenox Street and Shawmut Avenue, proposing realignment of the edge lines, reconfiguration of street drainage, street lighting, and reconstruction and realignment of pedestrian ramps to promote the accessibility of this location. The location in front of you right now is on Washington Street at the intersection of Thorndike. The proposed changes here include realignment of the edge line along the north side of Washington Street, the installation of a median pedestrian crossing island in the median for Washington Street, and reconstruction of a pedestrian ramp on the north side of Washington Street to align with the existing crosswalk at this intersection. In addition, we are relocating streetlights, reconstructing some drainage inlets, and resetting the existing brick sidewalk pavement within this area. There are two trees in this proposed work area. They will be maintained and protected during construction. And lastly, the next intersection is at Washington Street and Lenox Street. This location, we're proposing the extension of existing edge lines on the northeast corner of Lenox Street and Washington Street, the reconstruction and realignment of pedestrian ramps, resetting the existing brick sidewalk within this corner, relocation of street lighting, and the construction of 2 median pedestrian islands along Washington Street. I think these are all the improvements that are proposed. Entertain any questions.
Questions or comments by commission members? PIC staff or public?
The only thing I'll mention is that the original petition listed Northampton Street as one of the streets being impacted. That was removed from these plans, which is fine, but just for the record, the petition listed that.
Great, you guys ready to come back on the 27th?
Yes, we are.
All right, see you for public hearing on the 27th.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
New business item number 2, Columbia Road, Old Harbor Street, East 8th Street, Dorchester Street, South Boston pedestrian easement specific repairs on a set of joint petitions by Old Colony 6, Bond Limited Partnership, Old Colony Hub LLC, Old Colony Revitalization Corporation, Old Colony Phase 3 A4 Limited Partnership, Old Colony Phase 3 A9 Limited Partnership, and the Boston Housing Authority.
Hi, Amy. It's Darcy. How are you? Do you want me to jump in?
Go for it.
Yep, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, sorry, didn't want to speak out of turn. Hey, everybody. It's Darcy and the Old Colony team. On behalf of Boston Housing Authority and Beacon and our technical and design team, I just want to say thank you to everybody. Believe it or not, we are here to talk about Phase 6, which is the last building in the decade-long redevelopment of Old Colony. So really, really very exciting. And we're here to talk today about 2 different topics. One is specifically related to Phase 6, and then the second is separate, but still Old Colony related to some trees along Dorchester Street. So I'm here with Carla Chafee, who's our land use attorney from Nixon Peabody, John Headland and Coleman from Niche Engineering. Brianna Kahn is the associate working with me, and Letitia is from the Boston Housing Authority. So again, just wanted to say thanks for everybody's support. These projects are like a Herculean effort of sort of decisions and compromises and kind of moving things along, and you guys have been terrific and we appreciate it. So I think with that, maybe I'll just turn it over to John Headland to talk about Phase 6. Does that sound right?
I'm John Headland with Niche Engineering. So I'll be talking about the specific repairs along Columbia Ave, Old Harbor, East 8th, and the East 8th intersection, along with the Dorchester trees. So starting off with Columbia Ave, we have a furnishing zone that's 5 feet. We have a 6-foot pedestrian access area. We are actually putting in a pedestrian easement to facilitate the 8-foot pedestrian access. And within the furnishing zone, we have 4 new trees. We have a blue bike station along with other bike ramps. We are also proposing new streetlights, shadow conduit, and associated conduits with the streetlights. Moving to Old Harbor, we have 5 new trees within a 4-foot furnishing zone. We have a 5-foot plus pedestrian access. We are putting in a pedestrian easement to facilitate the pedestrian access. We have new streetlights, shadow conduit, and requested by the BTD, we have a bump out and crosswalk on the southern side. Moving to East 8th, we have new streetlights, shadow conduit, and associated conduit with the streetlights themselves. To replicate what's occurring at phase 4 and 5, we are not proposing street trees in this area, and this is consistent with phase 4 and 5. Moving to the intersection of East 8th Street and Old Harbor, via coordination with BTD, we have included a raised intersection in this area. This has aligned crosswalks. This will require full depth reconstruction of this entire area. Dorchester trees. So this is along Dorchester Street. We have proposed 4 new street trees. As seen on this existing condition survey, you can see a 20-inch water line. Our team has performed test pits in this area. This water line was not uncovered. Via coordination with BWSC, the record document actually has this water line within the street itself. So this is not going to be in conflict with these 4 new trees. So there are no conflicts with these trees. Right now we have a 4.5-foot access from the back of tree pit to the property line, and I'll let Darcy talk more about that.
Yeah, I'd like to do the phase 6 conversation to the extent there is any first, John, and then move to this in more detail, if that's okay.
Are there comments or questions regarding phase 6 by commission members? PIC staff or public?
John, I think you may have mentioned this and I just missed it, but can you clarify, are there any raised crosswalks or raised intersections being proposed as part of the phase 6?
Yes. We have a raised intersection on the East 8th Street and Old Harbor intersection. And this has been coordinated and sent over to the BTD for review. And they have commented saying we can proceed.
Thank you.
All right, let's do the tree part.
Okay, great, thank you, everybody. If it's okay, humor me, I'm gonna just back up with a little bit of history. As part of Old Colony Phase 3A, long ago, done, built, occupied, there was a late ask by Matt Martin and folks at BPDA for us to put street trees in. No discussion about sidewalk reconstruction or anything, just some new trees. And I had said, yeah, definitely we'll do it if we can afford to do it as part of 3A. We couldn't afford to do it. So when we came to phases 4, 5, and 6, we had a contract with the Housing Authority to do the demolition work and a few other things. And so we said, you know what, we can build in some resources to do the street trees. And the caveat to that was we'd have to do some test pits to figure out where that water line was that John mentioned. And if there wasn't a conflict with that, then we would go install the street trees. So as the story goes, and we did that testing a couple months ago, and we're getting ready to install the trees, it came up that we needed to come back and talk with PIC. So that's all fine and good, and here we are. What we've proposed is just replacing the trees and leaving the sidewalk as is. So that means the sidewalk is 4.5 feet and the trees go into a nice 3-foot tree pit. And let me just walk through the scenarios of where we're at based on conversations. And I'm just going to be clear, like the end point could be that we don't put the trees in if we can't reach an agreement that works for all of us. I don't want to end up there. I'm trying to work with you guys to do something that makes us all feel good, and we put the trees in. So I'm gonna walk through some of the options. The first is that you just approve this and we go put the trees in. That would be the most ideal scenario from a time, money, other challenges standpoint. We understand that the preference would be to have 5-foot sidewalks with the trees. That creates some challenges for me. One, we did not assume money to rebuild all the sidewalks, and the extra 6 inches comes onto the Beacon property, which means I would need an easement that all of my lenders and investors agree to. So that is a bit of a process, right, for me to figure out if I can come up with the money, which I'm not sure that I can, quite honestly, but I'm going to look. And then I've got a whole bunch of legal costs and sort of process with lender investor approvals. Again, willing to try and go that route if I can. If I can come up with the money, willing to go have the conversation with the lenders and investors, and maybe that's what we can do. I definitely won't have any money to do like street deposits or like any other major asks. Like we'd have to kind of keep the scope confined with no evolution or scope creep or added costs. That's kind of scenario 1, which would be a nice outcome for everybody. Scenario 2 is that we make the sidewalk the 5 feet and we make the tree pits a little bit smaller. You know, that's an option. Again, I know for tree viability and stuff, that's not optional. In that scenario, we would be willing to, you know, the 2-year warranty of care and diligence taking care of the trees, but we would need the city to take them and own them long term. I can't commit to an in perpetuity scenario of owning and maintaining those trees. And I guess the last option is not doing any trees at all, which I hope that that's not where this lands. So I guess my request is, given the complexity of some of the downside of some of the other scenarios, can we agree to move forward with the plan as presented? If I can't pull together the money and the lender investor approvals to do the wider sidewalk and the trees, because I'm going to try and do that. But if I have any reason that I fail at that, I'm asking for approval to do this. And I will do this in good communication with Todd about what's going on and sort of ask for his administrative discretion with us, and that any additional sidewalk fees or anything would be waived. So I've spent some time since yesterday trying to think through the best approach. So I think I try and do what the city wants, if I can, and if not, then we would do this, and we would have a little bit of a more narrow sidewalk, but trees that we're really sure are gonna flourish. So I'll stop there.
Yeah,
Great.
Sorry, yeah, I can jump in just real briefly. So in short, what the commission has in front of them currently in the petitions that have been presented take into account these new tree pits, the sidewalk work, and potentially the pedestrian easements along Dorchester Street, in addition to all of the other Phase 6 improvements. And to Darcy's point, I think they're going to spend the next 2 weeks trying to figure out what exactly of that is feasible. And if any of that is determined to be infeasible, then portions of those improvements may be withdrawn at the public hearing on presumably July 27th. So we're kind of giving you everything right now, laying all of the cards on the table, and then we're going to take a little bit of time behind the scenes to figure out what is actually going to be able to be done. And then some of this stuff might get pulled back, but that's kind of where we stand, and I think is the easiest way to move all of this forward as expeditiously as possible.
But Todd, let me ask just a clarifying question. When you say pulled back, what would be pulled back is us doing the full reconstruction of sidewalks and all that stuff. But what we would still hope could be approved would be doing the 4.5-foot sidewalks with the 3-foot pits if I can't accomplish the width of the sidewalks and the 3-foot pits that people have requested.
Yeah, I think once we'll have to settle, maybe between now and the 27th to figure out what exactly the best design is that's going to satisfy to the fullest extent everybody, understanding that you might not be able to satisfy everyone, but you'll come back on the 27th with a design that I think everybody who has a stake in the game is okay with.
Okay,
Yeah, I don't think, we can't give you a hard and fast answer right now, right? But I think that we can probably resolve this in the 2 weeks. So I will add, though, that we will want the pedestrian easement regardless of whether or not you are able to reconstruct these sidewalks, so that at a point in the future when these sidewalks would be reconstructed by whomever reconstructed them, we would have the dimension there to accomplish this. I will say that it could be a pedestrian easement, which is a surface easement, which is not, we're not coming for land or property or anything in that manner. So it shouldn't impact you from the lender perspective, but our desire will be to be able to have compliant sidewalks, even if you're not able to provide them right now. So I would say that we should pursue that regardless of whether or not we have you constructing anything. And I am not sure what the material is back there right now, but if some of that is already cement concrete, then
it's landscaped area, Amy. And let me just say, the lender investors are either going to approve us having an easement or not, like irrespective of whether we do this work later or you do it. Like they're either going to say it's okay or they're going to just tell me no. So I may or may not be able to offer it to the city.
Okay, can you make it cement concrete? That's 6 inches.
No. If I have the money to do any work in those 6, if I can get lender investor approval for an easement, and if I can come up with the money to do concrete work, we'll be able to just do the sidewalks for you. And that's my goal.
Yeah, no, I guess my point is that the scenario that we want to leave with is, to your point, right, one with trees, but also one that without you, investing money would allow the city to be able to provide a compliant sidewalk on Dorchester Street.
No, I understand that. I'm just saying, I hear you. I agree.
Yeah, and I think that maybe we need to have this conversation over the next 2 weeks to see.
I'm going to ask the lenders and investor if they will be willing to provide an easement. So they'll either give that to me now for us to do the work, or they won't, and they'll either give it to us for the city for a later date, or they won't. So I think they will, Amy. I'm not overly worried about it, but I do have to go ask.
So let's take that step, and then, right, every other conversation seems like it should happen after that one.
And if I can come up with the money.
Right, but I mean, again, still, right, pursue the easement even if it comes without money and a sidewalk today, right?
Yes, will do. Okay, so, and I just want to make clear for the commission that the phase 6 work is separate from this conversation.
Completely decoupled, yes. They can move in separately from here on out.
Good. Okay, this is great. I appreciate everybody talking to us and helping think it through, and I'll go do my thing and I'll circle back.
Great.
And I know Todd's going to do the advertising that we need to kind of take us whatever direction we go.
Yeah, and it'll all be in there. So, right, the everything option is what he will advertise, and then we can ratchet anything back that you guys aren't doing.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you.
All right. See you on the 27th.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Okay. All right. New business item number 3, 39 Mount Pleasant Avenue, Roxbury, grant of location on a petition by Verizon New England, Inc.
Hi, my name's Steve Clobert, and I work for Pike Telecom, and I'm representing Verizon for this petition. There was a petition filed by Verizon New England, Karen Levesque, June 30th, 2023, to the Commission to place 322 feet of conduit in existing manual 15396. The existing handle is located in the front of 39 Mount Pleasant Avenue for the purpose of providing those services on Mount Pleasant Avenue in Boston. Everybody see the screen?
Yes, we can see the screen. You were breaking up a little bit, Steve. If you can just repeat the length and the location and where you're tying into.
Okay, it's 322 feet of conduit along Mount Pleasant Avenue. Begin at the Verizon and manhole that 936. That's at the junction of Forest and Mount Pleasant. And it would run on the black line down, you see here on the street, over to the corner of Mount Pleasant Terrace and Mount Pleasant Avenue to the handle that's existing in the sidewalk right now.
Thanks, Steve.
Questions or comments? You'll be ready on the 27th to come back for a public hearing?
Yes, either myself or somebody else from Pike Telecom will be joining the meeting.
Perfect. I'll see you then.
Okay, great.
All right, that concludes this. I will entertain a motion to conclude.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.